Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. We're very excited to have you with us today. My name is Steve Allegrezza. I'm the executive director of here at IHFRA. For those of us who are newer, we really exist to support, empower, and advocate for our members. Everything we do is really centered around strengthening the rep channel and elevating professionalism across the industry. I wanted to say up top that today's session is really a direct result of your feedback. We recently put out a survey towards the end of the year last year, and many of you told us that digital marketing and technology, specifically when it came to like CRM systems, email marketing, automations, things like that, were real pain points. So we really wanted to go straight to the kind of the industry leader, Intuit MailChimp. So this webinar is really part of our continued commitment to just listen, adapt, and hopefully deliver meaningful content to really help elevate the profession. So the title of today's session is Consistent Clients Without Constant Selling, the Power of Targeted Email. We're going to explore how simple technology and tools, tools that many of you are already using, such as QuickBooks, Salesforce, and other databases, can connect with an email platform like MailChimp to create smarter targeting, better engagement, and repeat business that runs in the background. So again, few quick housekeeping. I am recording today's webinar, and I'll send it out. I'll send out a replay once we conclude. If you have any questions during the presentation, please don't hesitate to just drop them in the chat. Trevor's going to try to address as many of them as we go. And as always, I hope you come into this with an open mind, and hopefully we can all learn from each other. So now it's my pleasure to introduce today's speaker. Trevor House is a thought leader in the digital marketing space with a deep expertise in helping organizations leverage email marketing and CRM technologies to grow reoccurring revenue and better engage customers. See that? You like that, Trevor?
You make me sound so smart.
Right? No. As part of the MailChimp team, Trevor works with small businesses, mid-market, and enterprise partners to simplify data integration, unlock meaningful automation, and build targeted strategies that drive measurable results. So what I appreciate about Trevor is that he takes everything from a very practical approach. This is about connecting, real systems to real customer behaviors and turning everyday email into a true engine for growth. So, Trevor, we are immensely grateful for your time today and having you join us today. So, with that, the floor is yours, sir.
Sure. Thank you for the introduction. That's really sweet of you. It's nice to meet everybody here, and thank you for having me. My name is Trevor. I'm just a sales executive over at Intuit MailChimp for the last 7 years. Just to give a little bit of my experience of what I've helped other companies do. I've worked with companies from very small businesses all the way to large enterprises in different parts, in different industries, parts of the world, all sorts of craziness in every industry. And something I've learned over the years is that every industry always, it doesn't matter the industry, there's always a database hub for your software for everything is living. And there's always a marketing tool that can hook up to it. It doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, every marketer is trying to accomplish the same thing, even no matter the industry, and that's increasing engagement. I highly recommend anyone to ask questions along the way. I'm a very casual person. I'm not very corporate uptight. So if you have any questions, throw in the chat and I will likely get distracted and answer that question as I go. But let me share my screen really quick so that way I can just get to the slide deck. Ta-da. Cool. Welcome, everybody, to Consistent Clients Without Constant Selling, the Power of Targeted Email. Nice to meet everybody today. Now, the agenda that we have covering is the very first thing is the innovation gap that I want to highlight that a lot of small business owners typically don't see. Why business as usual is basically the biggest risk and you're leaving things on the table. From there, we'll discuss how we build that foundation that you already have basically in order to get new business that looks like the current business engaging with you. and then how to set that framework up. I'm going to be using Mailchimp as an example on how to set that up, but quite honestly, you could probably do it with any email marketing tool. And then from there, the overall goal is to break through the white noise that is digital marketing. Because I don't know about you, being very real, in my personal inbox today, I have 40,000 unread emails, and I work at Mailchimp. But I check my email every day. I just don't open every single one. I only open the ones that are more targeted to me, and I can tell based on the subject lines and preview content and things of that nature because people are leveraging my behaviors and actions to give me what I actually want to see, as opposed to the words I give them on a sign up form, which is exactly what I want to teach everybody here how to do today. Because once we have all that in place, we can just clone it to be able to find, new customers that look just like the ones that we have today. Um, so with that being said, moving on. So just to like highlight overview here, there's been a huge shift over the last 10 years to companies needing to adopt technology more and more as we've been moving more advanced in the world. I mean, for God's sake, everything with AI alone has just been insane. So software is not optional. I understand that you all do fantastic work, and I think that your fantastic work needs to be fantastically supported with an easy to use technology that'll empower you to actually get out there because you do fantastic work and you do deserve to be seen. Every industry has been forced to accelerate over the past decade, and that's all thanks to basically the power of integrations. Every company's got a database storage size like a QuickBooks, like a Salesforce, like a Jobber, like a HubSpot. We all have heard of them before, but we are able to keep up with growth because we are logging all of those behaviors in those databases so we can see trends over time of what our customers value from us specifically, our unique business. So then how do we effectively leverage that? Uh, the biggest thing here that I want everybody to walk away with is to avoid being a commodity. What I mean by that is that I put this on. When I used to work with home builders and remodelers before coming into mail marketing, a lot of them would feel very strongly that their product and work alone is good enough. And they will look at everyone else and what they're doing. Okay, that guy's doing billboards, that guy's doing radio ads, that guy's doing that. I guess I should do that too. And when you do that, you start to become more of a commodity, just another company that does the same thing as the other guys. My goal here today is to help you all leverage technology so that way you can be uniquely different because the ones that stand out, even a little bit, get to be seen as the leaders in their space. And since in your industry, from at least my experience, a lot of peers are avoid tech at first because it sounds like a lot of work up front and it sounds scary and complicated, and I'm too busy for this. But I promise you, if you invest time into it up front, you'll be able to take advantage of it long term as it gets completely automated once it's all set up. Um, because if you do what everyone else is doing, you'll get exactly what everyone else is getting, but you could be getting a lot more. Um, moving on then. So to that end, who is this whole presentation for? I wanted to make sure I called this out if you haven't picked up on it already with the commodity section that this whole presentation is for the business owner that is looking to increase more results for their organization in an easier, effective way. If you are thinking to yourself, I don't need marketing, it's business as usual, and I'm good with what I'm getting, this isn't for you. And I'm really sorry. This goal here is for those looking to grow your business and how we make that happen. Very first thing is going to be the foundation. I am unfamiliar with what all of your main data hubs are looking like, but everyone has it. In today's demonstration, I'll be using QuickBooks to show how we can leverage the data that you've all been capturing on your customers to then send content based on their actions rather than the words they gave you on a sign-up form. That way you can create recurring business effectively. And then with that recurring business effectively, we'd be able to replicate that to then basically generate more leads, which will then result in more business, and organic growth can happen automatically when you just set it and forget it. Um, and that's basically it. And I'm going to show you all how to do that next. But before I jump in, does anyone have any questions or concerns or like really curious about something before I just jump right in? The questions are open. Good talk. All right. Sounds like so then from there, we demo MailChimp. All right, cool. So this is my demo account just to give you all an idea of what we're working with here. Um, and for this example, I have my own business called Trevor's Furniture and Stuff. Um, what this is essentially, if you have a QuickBooks, if you have a Salesforce, if you have whatever, you can just plug and integrate with something like MailChimp. Put in your login credentials, data syncs up, and then everything that's happening inside of QuickBooks or what have you will digitally connect to your MailChimp account. Whatever happens to the MailChimp account, your emails, opens, clicks, whatever, syncs back over to the profile equivalent inside of your CRM for your true source of reporting. Basically, it's tracking all the data and actions, and you do all the execution inside of MailChimp. So, as an example, if I have QuickBooks integrated with mine to Trevor's Furniture and Stuff, I'd be able to send out emails, text messages, create automations based on what happens inside of QuickBooks when it updates things, or when people visit the website, or when people make a purchase, the kind of purchase that they do make, what kind of job they're taking, as well as website tracking, landing pages, sign up forms to be able to capture new leads, as well as surveys to get feedback on the result of the work that you are doing. We're able to do all of that and track it all on an individual level because at our core, we too are kind of like marketing CRM, but we can't execute on anything without the actual data, hence the importance of having a real CRM. So what this would look like if we integrate this would be here. Everything in Mailchimp, as an example, has what we call an audience. An audience in Mailchimp is the database for an entire organization. Each one of you will likely only have one audience unless you have multiple businesses, which if you do, that's awesome. Good on you. But one audience here. And on that audience, we'll be able to show you everything that they're doing with you in the online space, such as like how they're engaging with your marketing, opens, clicks, what have you, as well as revenue, because with that integration with QuickBooks, we're pulling in the purchases that are being made thanks to the efforts of email marketing, as well as the different campaigns that have been sent out and how they've been engaged, as well as best practices and things of that nature. When I go into the audiences, what our integration basically does with these CRMs, it syncs up with the email address in that database. So the email address becomes the unique identifier to create a profile in MailChimp. So you have the email address of this person in QuickBooks. Awesome. Connect it. That email address automatically syncs over to MailChimp. And all of those personalized information fields that you have on that individual will populate down here in their custom profile fields below. So whenever things update inside of QuickBooks, they'll also automatically update inside of MailChimp. That's a really important thing to remember in just a second. And then on the right-hand side here, we'll show you everything they did with you in the online space as you execute your comms out of MailChimp. So the emails, opens, clicks, sends, cool. But here you'll also be able to see when they visit your website or if they engage a landing page activity, a specific kind of promotion, survey responses, and the things that they responded to, feedback there, um, text message behaviors, and all the way down to most important revenue insights. Since all of that information is logged in your CRM and in this example, QuickBooks, we'd be able to see how much an individual is purchasing and what they're purchasing specifically, as well as when, especially if you're a seasonal business, it's probably pretty important. But that way you can have all this data at your disposal to then be more targeted in your outreach. That's basically all of the parts that are lying around. And my next goal here after showing you all the parts to this puzzle is putting it all together and creating a targeted email so that way you can get through the white noise that is email marketing and get people like me to engage their content who have 40,000 unread emails. Looking at the chat really quick. That's oh, that's super easy. Yeah. So if just so you're aware to make a switch as you're thinking about this, if this is a good fit for you, um, we just have format guidelines on our website that you can just follow, and they're probably going to be similar to Aweber, to be honest. Format guidelines for your import file. Ta-da! And then on this page, you have a download sample template. So that way you can just copy and paste what you got in Aweber into the template there and use that instead if you want to use an Excel sheet. Or if, again, you have a CRM, you can automatically just have those sync up together by just logging into it from the integrations page on the MailChimp account. Good question. Cool. All right. Well, now, with all that said, we have all these parts, all these behaviors and data points, and they're just kind of like all over the place. I'm going to tell you all up front, email blasting and seeing what sticks is not going to work. You're not going to get through to people like me with 40,000 unread emails if that's the case. Instead, we need to be able to be more targeted to be able to work with not just like get people what they want, but also play against the algorithm that is an inbox provider scanning for spam and such. Because the least amount of number, the lower the count that you're sending to in a targeted way, that also influences deliverability rate. So let's take, for example, I have a targeted list of people. And usually when I ask people in a like a meeting, I'll ask them, tell me about a segment that you have. I'm going to see if I can recreate that. And they will tell me every time, just a category, basically. Buyers, people ages 50, just like some sort of label. And that's not a segment. That's a list. That's just a tag. And that's part of the email blasting and seeing what sticks kind of category. But we want to help you level up and break through that noise. So let's just say you want to target somebody in a particular list because they buy something specific. Cool. Whatever. The overall goal then is to combine that with the behaviors that are being tracked in your CRM because that's communicating with MailChimp. So those custom fields, for example, in QuickBooks on that profile, when they update inside of QuickBooks, they update inside of MailChimp. That'll be all this here in the contact details. As well as the age range and gender, we also track the IP address of the subscribers. So that way you can build lists all the way down to the postal code. For example, I'm in Orlando, Florida. Please don't find me. And that's where I live. And we can combine that with more behavior. So getting this down to even when they visit your website, how they signed up, the things that they've engaged with online in general with you all, as well as the purchase behaviors, what they're purchasing specifically and for how much or how much money they've even spent with you in general. So let's just say we're talking to people that have spent over $1 with us that are in Orlando, Florida, that are part of this particular list. And you know what? I want to be able to get to the inbox. So I'm going to make sure I have a targeted number of people that have opened any of my last 5 emails. Great. So now this is pretty targeted, and I can provide messaging that's based on regional stuff about Orlando, Florida, about a deal I have to past customers because they're likely going to buy. Cool. We can use that segment, name it whatever we'd like inside the MailChimp. And this is usually the aha moment. Once this segment is built, as soon as anyone meets those rules, they're added to it automatically. And as soon as those rules are no longer met, say they haven't opened the last 6 emails of yours, they're removed automatically from this list. That way you're not spamming anybody. It's always based on the most recent behaviors and actions. So that way you're reacting strategically with data-driven lists that are always up to date because your CRM is always up to date to send out content via emails and automations and all that stuff. And that's how you're able to break through that white noise gap that's there that I call them, to be able to get seen more. Now, will that result in like a crazy change? I can't promise that because it is email at the end of the day. Email has an average click rate of 3%. But if you're able to be more targeted, you will break through that noise more. And once you're able to break that noise more, I'd recommend expanding your marketing channels probably to SMS because that has a 17% click rate. And at the end of the day, you're trying to get people to click on your links to be able to register for an appointment or a booking or some kind. And so then from here, my goal is to show you how easy it is to build an email inside of MailChimp. as well as set up these automations because it sounds intimidating at first, but all of it is all laid out. The integration with your provider just automatically brings all this data here. You just select the menu options like I did to build your lists and then build your content because that's just simply the result of having good behavioral data. If you want to change over to MailChimp from Aweber, how does that work as far as the subscribers? Wait, that's what I just read. Oh, sorry. Can you use segments to break down your client database? Retailer only wants to close out deals, or a retailer has a store with a mix of clients that speak different languages. Yes, you can. That's a great example of how to utilize segments. You could be able to set up those things as custom fields if they're already associated as custom fields in the CRM. Usually, when I work with someone, the mix of clients or the type of things that are related to their customer base are already fields in the CRM that are always up to date. So when we sync up to that, we could just utilize that for the segment builder in MailChimp to make it actionable, since the actions people take with you speak louder than the words they give you on a sign form. Cynthia, thank you for the question. Cool. So then from here, I'm going to show you how easy it is to actually build an email and just have fun with this. And if you have any ideas you want me to throw into the email, let's make this interactive. Let me know what you want me to put in. Um, because it really is just kind of fun to go about this. So when building an email inside of any email builder, MailChimp excluded even, it's all basically the same. It's a drag and drop builder setup that is not anything revolutionary to make it easier to use. When setting it up inside of MailChimp, we'll say, okay, who is this going to go to? We'll pick our company. You all will only have one audience. And then we will select the segment that we just built together, like the one I just had. And also to be more targeted with the approach, even, you can use that segment and say anyone that's in that segment that isn't these things as well will not get this email. That way it can take that into consideration when you send it out. Prompt name is pretty self-explanatory. Doesn't really matter as long as it's your email address and you name it whatever you want. Done. Subject line also is here, but we have generative text to be able to uh, basically give you writer's block if you can't think of a good subject line for what you're doing. And then as you send out emails from MailChimp, we'll be able to show you the best time of day that people normally open their inbox. The send time optimization tool here will use the unique 2-hour time window that someone usually opens their inbox. So that way, when they open the inbox, your email will be toward the top, as because there are people like me with 40,000 unread emails. And then we can design the content to make it look fun. So I'm going to design an email here. So in MailChimp, there's like 137 different templates to choose from out of the box. I have like 423 because I build new ones every day. But building an email is pretty easy. You can create it and then save it indefinitely, organize it into different folders for different business use cases if you'd like, as well as you can even build them together like a Google Doc where you could have multiple people in the same template, just dragging and dropping together to make it easier on you. And if you hate everything we have, you can also code your own, or you can integrate with Canva because everyone loves Canva designs, and we have a direct integration with Canva's templates if you just want to create it all there. But building an email looks like this. So every block to my left here is the drag and drop options, and they all have their own unique settings. For example, this here is a paragraph block. If I go over here, this is what the paragraph block is, and I click on it. Whoa, the paragraph block settings show up. And then I can make different design choices and then edit this how I go. I highly recommend engaging with our AI though, because it will make your life a lot easier. And you can have it be able to say anything you want, even. It'll give you 3 different options to choose from. So, yes, if you're trying to get a promotion, to get a call to action, throw that in there. But it really can generate anything. So if I were to say like, tell everyone in this webinar how cute my dog Lane is. She's a beagle and eats everything. Generate it. I got 3 different options. I can apply it right there. And also if I'm trying to go for a particular tone of voice, because at the end of the day, when it comes to marketing, you're trying to reach that place of gut decision making, where you invoke some sort of feeling unintentionally, and then they're forced to rationalize and make that decision. So you can always change the tone of that you're trying to go for with your content to be able to try to, speak that language. As we continue going down, of course, you want to show that creativity. If we have like a photo block here, we can use the cloud-based studio. So in Mailchimp, we have a unlimited storage in our cloud-based stuff. So feel free to upload whatever photos, videos, attachments, what have you. The Canva stuff, that's here too if you like it. And also, at the end of the day, people buy from people. And as a small business owner, you have a unique advantage over corporations, in my opinion, where you can just be human and break through that noise. And the more fun you're having with it, the more likely you're going to get engagement. It's kind of like how you see Wendy's Twitter do something really weird, and then everyone starts talking about it. So you too can do something like that as well, because we have a meme of literally everything. And since I'm talking about puppies, I'm going to throw in puppies. Uh, Animation also helps a lot when it comes to getting engagement because, again, people respond to it more. And then if we have that call to action, we have a drag and drop button block here. You can click on that, change the web link to wherever you want to go, change the button block to be a different shape or color to be more on your brand, and then call it a day. But you have a lot of creative freedom as you go because, like, yes, this is just a one column template. It looks pretty simple. But as you go through this, you can drag and drop additional columns. So you can make this as dynamic as you really need to be. Um, and as you continue to build this, please keep in mind we do track the age ranges of your customer base, and the demographic of 30 and under is more mobile focused than ever before. So when you're sending out your emails and such, it's probably good to design specifically for mobile devices as well. So that way you can meet your customers where they're at. And then once you have something that you like, you can stylize it, make sure it looks good overall for formatting reasons. This optimized tab on MailChimp is pretty cool. We have a little less than 1 billion emails sent out of MailChimp servers every day. And since we have a 96 to 99% rating to the inbox folder, we have a lot of data on what actually gets engagement. So as you're building the email before you send it out, click this optimized tab. We'll give you best practices based on what we're seeing leave our servers today. So that way you can take that feedback to heart. It's pretty cool. From there, once you have something that you like, you can send a test email out to your peers or whatever. And whoever receives the test email can reply directly to that email from their own personal inbox. And that feedback will end up in the comments section for the designer all in one space. So there's not like a million one tabs pulled up as they're trying to keep track of it all. And then once you have something you like, great. You can just preview it one more time, making sure it looks good on desktop, on mobile, and then you can send the email. And that's really basically how to send an email inside of MailChimp. I want to take a quick pause here. Does it, for anyone that may have questions about this? I'm gonna wait 30 seconds. My anxiety probably
So,
won't let me wait 30 seconds. Okay, what do you
Trevor,
got?
you mentioned something about 96% to inbox. So is that taking into account like spam filters and things like that? That's something I've run into with other services before, is they end up in people's spam folders. How do we prevent that? And is that part of this?
Yeah, that's part of this. So there's a difference between in the email marketing space and the software competitors and their marketing and branding. You will see a lot of people saying we have 99% deliverability. And deliverability doesn't mean it got to the inbox folder. It means that it got to the inbox provider. Most people will get to the inbox provider, including the spam folder of that inbox provider. Um, to try to increase your inbox placement, there are, of course, industry best practices you should be doing. Like number one is authenticating your domain with DKIM and DMARC credentials and two CNAME records. As of February 2 years ago, Gmail and Yahoo updated their security policies to make it ridiculously harder to get to the inbox, especially with the implementation of the promotions folder that they have. So again, the more targeted you are with your approach, to put it plainly, these inbox providers, Gmail and Yahoo and such, they have what I call a credit score on every domain that is sending to them. So your companyname.com has a rating with Gmail and Yahoo as it's receiving content from it. Depending on how many people are in that batch that you're sending out, how often people engage with it, if they mark you as spam, what have you, that all influences that invisible credit score that they have on you. So that's why the idea is if you can be more targeted, great. If you authenticate your domain, then it removes the mass mail provider that you're likely using from the equation so that you arrive in the inbox more often. While using that in a MailChimp side, what makes it unique, at least as a software, is that a lot of marketing email services, they'll outsource the email engine that powers the emailing to like SendGrid or Twilio, if you haven't heard of them. Whereas MailChimp built ours in-house, which just means that we have more control over their reputation quality, hence the higher rating to the inbox. I hope that answers your question, Ryan. And also, if I over-explained, I'm sorry.
That was great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Trevor, can I jump in with a quick question?
Yeah.
So for those of us who maybe aren't using a formal CRM, like what would it actually take to start the process? What data other than the email address and I assume first and last name is required to load into MailChimp to use it and to where you can really take advantage of some of those automations and segmentations. What's required?
Yeah.
What's kind of the bare minimum, and what's kind of the best practice if you don't already have a CRM that's plugged in?
Makes sense. Yeah. So the best practices with that would be to at least have an email address. We can't make a profile without one. And ideally, you want to have some personalization to be able to leverage at the bare minimum a first name. So that way you can reference everybody by their first name when you send out your content. Those are the two bare minimum things I would recommend having. Anything more you have is great because it is just more puzzle pieces to utilize for your Lego set. That is your email marketing tech. But if you're just looking to start off bare bones, all you need is just an email address, their first name, and an Excel sheet. And then from there, if you know what kind of customers they are, if you already have like an idea of like their list, you can also put that in that format guide in the Excel sheet. And once everything's imported, MailChimp will automatically apply it all at bulk. So like they'll put tags on everybody that you put in the list of the Excel sheet. And then from there, you can start email marketing right away and setting up your automations and things of that nature. And then all the things that we track can be segmented against, and everything that's stored inside of MailChimp will be available to leverage for your business for smarter marketing. Did that answer your question?
It did. Quick follow up. I mean, if someone does not have a formal CRM that they're using today, could this sort of replace that? I mean, MailChimp has changed so much since the last time I really used it. And it seems like you've got all the components here to really have a one-stop shop for some of this information.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And you can use this as like a pseudo CRM instead of like having QuickBooks or a Salesforce. The only caveat is that if you're using MailChimp directly like that, you won't be able to bring in any revenue information because that requires an integration with those pieces. But everything else is perfectly available from just using this as a CRM and Excel sheets.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Good question. Cool. Well, then from here, I want to show you what it's like to build an automation, and in the automation, show you how not just like to send content to these people that you have automatically, but also leverage ad targeting to find new business that looks like the current business engaging with you. A lot of people's goals aren't usually, I want to target my current customers and get new business, recurring business. It is, I want to find new business and continue to grow. Let me show you how you can do that inside of MailChimp. So we're going to build an automation together, and I'm going to build it from scratch just to show how easy it is to use. But I do want you all to know there are a lot of pre-built automation templates here. So you don't have to build it from scratch. You can just pick whatever best practice that is listed here. But I want to show you all everything that you can do and how easy that can be. I'm going to call this a test. Make sure it goes to my company. Boom. And then from here, the automation is going to ask me, what do I want the action to be that triggers out all this content? So maybe they signed up on a sign up form to get more information about you all. Maybe they just became part of a list category that you have, or anything that is happening inside of the MailChimp account itself about the data. Contact activity is anything that updates inside of MailChimp about that respective subscriber. Then we have date-based things, revenue-based things, how they engage with your content in general. And then we have a separate section for custom stuff if you want to get crazy. I'm just going to do a very simple sign up journey because that resonates with most people. So they go on a sign up form, yay, and they say, I want more information. Cool. Once that happens, you can send them an email. And we can use that email that I just built about with the dogs if you want. Or you can just build a new one on the fly. Then from there, you may get engagement, you may not, but we want to make sure that we are being intentional with our outreach. So let's say we wait a couple of days after we send that email, 2 days. And then we provide if else logic. Like I mentioned earlier about the segment builder, it's basically a menu of all of the actions and behaviors people are taking with you online, as well as everything that you have stored inside of MailChimp. So these automations can use those actions as a decision tree. You can say something like they open that email or click that email or what have you. I'm just going to throw that in here. Cool. So they open the email. We'll send them down the yes path because they did that action I wanted. And we can send them down the no path to experiment with different kinds of marketing. But don't limit yourself to just email marketing campaign engagement because the segment builder is going to track way more than just that. The website activity, depending on the integration, revenue behaviors, custom field information, as well as survey responses and feedback and all sorts of things. So you can leverage a lot of different behaviors to decide this tree. So in this example here, if they open that email, cool. Let's send them another email to incentivize that good behavior because maybe they didn't purchase. So we want to incentivize them with a discount offer. And if we don't open the email, that's an opportunity to experiment. We could probably do a split path option of A/B testing. Yay! Where one side we do another email with a different subject line, just see if that's catchy enough to get their attention. And if we're new to text messaging, we can do an omni-channel approach and include a text message here and see if that could be a good use of that channel and see the results over time with that. As you build these journeys, you can create as many as you'd like. What's great for a small business owner is that once it's created, you can just replicate it and then make quick edits to it for anything. So you can change the trigger, but have a similar flow, and it makes it way easier. And as you go through this, based on how people engage with your content, you can also have MailChimp automatically put them into their respective lists or remove them from their respective lists, update their custom fields automatically because they took a specific action that tells you they're not the right buyer. Or you can also archive them so you're not billed for them any longer. MailChimp's a month-to-month service, no contract. So you can change, pause, cancel anytime you would like, and we'll bill you only on the active people you're marketing to. So if you archive anybody, that puts them in like a data library where you're not billed for them, but you can pull them back out later for a more popular time of year to give that a go. And then they can just exit the journey. That's our automations in general and how that works overall. And I'm curious to see if anyone has any questions because the next thing I'm going to show you is how to use this for ad targeting purposes for new business. Before switching gears, everyone feel good about that? Yay! All right. So from here, let's just say, for example, then we have all this data being tracked and it's all over the place and cool, I'm getting some more recurring business. That's great. But how do I use this to grow? Well, let's say, for example, you have a trigger here. And that trigger could be if we have an integration or even if custom field updates from your Excel sheet imports that indicate that they are buying or purchasing something or something is going on. Cool. We could say that is they buy, whatever. When that happens, we can have the if else logic appear. And in that yes no pathing, let's just zoom up on this. In that yes no pathing logic, we can say if they purchased, send them down the yes path. If they don't, send them down the no path. And if they purchase, my demo account's a little bit bugged out, so I'm sorry if this part might be a little bit confusing. But we talk about the power of integrations. This gap right here, normally, like I said, my demo account's bugging out. Right there, it's supposed to show Meta custom audiences. MailChimp has a direct integration with Meta Business Manager. So if someone makes a purchase with you, someone does business with you, somebody opts in to receive communications from you, odds are that's the kind of customer you want more of. So what we can do is take their email addresses and sync that over to the custom audience finder on Meta's side. So that way you'll have an aggregate list of email addresses that all have something in common. Even if you don't know what they have in common, they obviously do. So that way you can create more targeted ads to break through that noise to get their attention. So that way more people can get visit your website to then sign up, report, and engage that way, all using just the information you already have from your current customer and working with them. So it's working smarter rather than just kind of spraying and seeing what sticks. Um, so that's what I highly recommend doing for anybody that's interested in growing their businesses, leverage their current business to do so. Ooh, that's automations. Any thoughts, comments, concerns?
It's a little bit like drinking through a fire hose. Not gonna lie. I mean, I'm gonna say that for me. But I mean, this is really exciting on the possibilities of what it can be used for and how it could help. I think everyone on this call. But is it safe to assume that there are plenty of tutorials and helpful videos and tips and tricks through the Mailchimp site or YouTube page, things like that?
We have a YouTube page where people can follow along. Also, if anyone's curious, I'm happy to have a one-on-one scheduled conversations with anyone on this call to learn more about them and see if we can be of help. And also, the standard plan on MailChimp has 1 hour of onboarding where we walk you through all of this together. And if you need additional assistance, our premium plan has 90 days of onboarding where we come up with a strategy for you together and we implement on it together. So there's different options.
Okay, thank you.
And then from there, you just get analytics on how people engage with your content. So I'm just going to cover this really quickly, and then we can make some time for questions. So as we send out emails, we'll be able to identify the best day people usually engage with your content. Mailchimp does this based on better, good, and best days, which is silly. So if I go over to merch, there we go. Better, best days, and then you can schedule your content from the calendar itself to make it easier on you to make smarter decisions for your emails, texts, or social posts. From there, go back to the campaigns tab. If I want to pull up a report to see how people engage with my content, this is what you can expect. Cool. So I can see how many people I sent this to. This is my company, the subject line, status. Great. Over here, I want to see the overall opens, clicks, bounces. This is like what any email provider should be giving you right now. Also, we'll show you the delivery ratings, clicks per unique opens, which is super important, as well as filter out bots. I'm sure, yeah, bot filtering is on. Fun fact, with Apple mails, especially when people receive emails, it's going to scan for viruses and things of that nature, and that's going to trigger opens. So you may not actually have real opens, but it can't really trick a click, at least not that easily. Hence, this reporting metric being very important. From there, we can show you the overall engagement for the first 24 hours on opens, clicks, deliverability, and things of that nature. We also have a click map to show you how the links are engaged on desktop and mobile devices and overall. And then we'll also give you the age range and gender breakdown of the engagement with your content. And then the different parts of the world that engaged. Odds are you all are probably going to be in the United States. And if you click on that, it'll show you the specific states that engaged with you. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen right now because that is a MailChimp and using digital marketing in a nutshell with the technology that you already have to make an impact. Ryan, you have a question?
Hey, Andrew. So, question for you here. So, I'm sure Steve told you a little bit about kind of this organization and how a lot of us operate. So, a lot of us operate as independent, kind of third party reps that are kind of look more like liaisons between the retailers and the suppliers who are manufacturing and selling the furniture. So, one of my thoughts is you talked a lot about tracking sales and follow ups. I know some reps do actually input things into QuickBooks and things like that, but for those of us who like our customers are making the purchase from the vendor and we're kind of the in between, what's a good way to maybe track engagement and analytics that doesn't involve actually knowing like and tracking them making a purchase? Because I wouldn't be able to like put that on the website of the vendor, right? So like when we're sending out these targeted emails, can we track engagement just through like, obviously you can see if they opened it, but the clicks, or what would that be like without actually having a funnel to show that they've purchased because they're purchasing from a third party? Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. Essentially, just make sure I understand and repeat the question back to you. How do I confirm that the clicks that I'm getting are actually resulting in a sale when the sale is not happening on a page that I host?
Essentially, yes, that's a good way to boil it down.
Okay, cool. I mean, in short, we wouldn't be able to because you don't own the host data, which is why the importance of having like a CRM that is noting all that for you is important. However, if you're still able to like note the people that are making purchases and you have their email addresses, what you could do is also leverage the custom fields in a person's profile. You can have number-based fields or purchase-based fields there. So that way you can also upload it as an Excel sheet file and leverage that information for segment building in the custom profile fields. I hope that makes sense. I can show you what that looks like if you
It
want.
kind of does. Where I'm going with that now is like, so let's say I loaded my customer database into Mailchimp, right? Had that initial customer assortment in there with their email address, their company name, their zip code, et cetera.
Mhm.
Could I then maybe go upload another Excel sheet later that has that same customer's info, but then add hey, 2025 sales tab or something like that? Would it be able to then integrate and not create a new customer, but put that into the existing customer?
Yes, for sure. That's why the email address is the unique ID. If the email address is still the
Nice.
same, but all the fields underneath it are different, it's just going to update those fields below it and associate the email address there. And you can have up to 30 to 80 fields in a single profile, so that way you can have all that
Ooh,
information as
okay.
needed.
So I can even break it down further, maybe. And if there's like a specific subcategory of product that that customer is buying from me, and I know that I get that information from the manufacturer, I could then upload an Excel spreadsheet. As long as the email address matches, it would then sync that and put in like, okay, this customer XYZ's 25 sales number for product for the green collection is X dollar amount based upon the Excel spreadsheet I'm putting in, and then use that to then target that subgroup of customers who's purchasing that product collection.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm tracking. I like this. Thank you.
I'm so happy that what I said makes sense because I was afraid that I would overcomplicate it. So thank you, Ryan.
I mean, I have some experience working with stuff like this, and so I don't know if everybody does, but yeah, this is kind of what I'm looking for is that next level. So I'm excited to kind of hear some of this. So
Sweet. Well, that's what I'm here for, is to essentially ideate ideas and see what we can do to help you make an impact with your marketing. What I've shown today is just a general overall of like best practices to follow. And from there, we can take advantage of different marketing channels and go over the different results and statistics on that. So that way we can make sure we're fully optimizing just based on industry standards. But I wanted to make sure that we focus today on just a foundational basic. So that way you guys can take what you already have and use something today. So that's it for me. But next 10 minutes, I'm open for questions.
Trevor, I've got one. While everyone else is waiting and thinking about what they want to ask, so what would you recommend for again, just we use Ryan as an example, like independent rep, kind of the third party operator, but many reps represent multiple lines. So you
Mhm.
said one audience, that's going to be your customer base, but what if your customers are different based on the line that you are selling? Or can you segment your audience by the brands that they carry? Or how would
Yeah,
you, what are some best practices there? I don't know if that
yeah, that
question
makes
made sense
sense.
to everyone else.
No, and basically you have everybody in one audience. So then like how do you differentiate different attributes about your contacts, essentially? So there's different ways to go about it. And what I, okay, let me just pull this up here. So let me just pull up a contact profile for reference. You have different things you can do. If you want these things to be updated via that Excel spreadsheet all the time, then make it a custom field and name that field whatever you'd like. Name it brand, name it material, name it whatever, and then have that associated in that format guideline whenever you're uploading it. Again, it will not make a duplicate if the email address is the same. It'll just refresh all the things below it. So that way it's always up to date. And then when you have things like brand or anything associated with an already built segment, well, it just updates automatically for you. So that way it removes all the stale data and gives it all the refresh data immediately. The other way you can go about separating that out is using tags. That's just a blanket way of this is a group of people that are this. And you can combine tags with custom fields and behaviors in the segment builder for a true targeted approach.
Okay, thank you.
Can customers have multiple tags?
Yes, you can have unlimited. Good questions. I have a question if no one else does them. For everybody here, I remember this one. Yes, everybody's trying to increase engagement, but everyone has different reasons for the goals that they have. I'm curious to learn everyone here, like what's overall the result you're hoping to get when you send out content. Like you send out an email, this is what I'm hoping to get back.
I'll throw out an answer to that. I think exposure. So one of my main things is existing customers that I have their contact information because they bought something in the past, but maybe there's a new collection that I think would be a good fit for them, but they're not really, they haven't had a chance to see or engage with. So that's what I'm kind of imagining is whenever there's a new collection that I'm sending that out to that existing list and hopefully getting them to respond to it and, reach back out to me for more information or submit an order if it's something that they can directly order. So that's kind of what I'm looking for is kind of, recapturing customers that I've worked with before, but showing them something new and different than maybe they purchased or have done in the past.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And that explains your engagement earlier because utilizing segmentation will break through that to be able to get their attention on when those things happen because of their past activities that you already have logged. That makes a lot of sense. That's fantastic. Okay. So then from there, what I recommend, if anyone's curious, is once you have that foundation in place, you have targeted lists and everything's working together. That's when we want to level up the next way, which is expanding into the SMS territory, being able to identify what kind of short, quippy messages we want to be able to use to get attention to be able to increase those results since it has a 17% click rate. That's the last little nugget of information I've got. Happy to answer any more questions.
Well, so same use case. I mean, you talked about like reasons why we're trying to increase engagement. I know when I still had a customer base before my time with IHFRA, it was a lot about like, hey, I really just want to make sure I communicate to all my customers that maybe market's coming up and I'm trying to solidify a market appointment and get all my appointments on the calendar. And maybe I sent the email, but then it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. Is there best practices around forming those automations or workflows to where it's like, hey, market's coming up. Here's let's book a time. Maybe they click on it, but they don't respond. Can you make sure that they stay in that automation if they?
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Would you like me to show you what that looks like in that example? Yeah,
sure.
Here, I can definitely do that. It's over here in the automations tab. So what you're describing is a date-based automated workflow, and it's pretty simple to set that up as long as you know the date of the event, of course. So
I'm going to expand on Steve's question real quick too. Are there any integrations as well with anything like Calendly or something like that, where once they make an appointment, they either get added to or removed from an automation? Just kind of expanding on that same question.
Man, Ryan, thank you for asking that question.
Thank you, Ryan. That's what I was going for right there.
The answer is yes. So just a fun fact about MailChimp, it's been around since '01. It was one of the original 33 SaaS applications, and it was the only email tool in the space for like 10 years. Because of that being the industry first, a lot of people that wanted to provide email kind of functionality and such made integrations to MailChimp. And that's basically how it grew without having a sales organization, which is when I got hired. So when you're thinking about integrations, it's like, man, I wonder if it integrates with Calendly. Odds are yes, because that's how MailChimp got its majority of business. So all you have to do really is just go to Google, MailChimp, Calendly integration, and odds are it's built by the party. And there it is. Because we have all of our integration documentation public for anyone to take advantage of and use. So a better question is what we don't integrate with. Uh, and at the end of the day, integration is key to increase your engagement. Great questions. Well, if anyone has any other questions, thoughts, comments, concerns, or ideas they want to lay out, feel free to reach out to me anytime. I'm a resource at your disposal. I was also able to convince MailChimp to provide a 20% discount on any MailChimp plan for anyone that's interested in giving this a shot. If you have any questions, that's my office line as well as my LinkedIn and my email. And if you would like to set up a one-on-one session with me, shoot me an email and I'll send you my calendar link. And we can, walk through your use case, your tech stack, and see what we can and can't do to make sure that this is the right fit. And if it's not, that's cool too. I'll tell you where you should probably go then, because I'm here to help.
Trevor, I have a brief question if you have time.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, is there a way where you can almost, and I'm sure there is, but can you separate different groups into business owners and salespeople? So the salespeople is someone who you'd be marketing your product to of some maybe something new, kind of like Ryan was saying, something new that's about to hit their floor,
Mhm.
right? Versus reaching out to a business owner to try to sell them.
Okay, that makes sense. And so that sounds like categories in that sense. You can definitely separate that out using tags inside of MailChimp and have a tag for sales and have a tag for business owner and associate those people with that category. So that way when you go to send an email, you click the right category and it's done.
So would you do that under their profile essentially?
Yeah, or in the
Okay.
Excel sheet, even. You can
Okay.
have tags be placed automatically during import.
Okay.
I just
Great.
want to make
Thank
sure
you.
I understood that the same. So same company, right, Craig? And then this is maybe the
Yeah,
buyer, this is the owner, and these are the retail sales associates that are actually going to be, you know, front line.
correct.
Yeah, okay.
Correct. Because we all live all over the place from the stores that we sell to, and sometimes product hits the floor before you could get in front of a salesperson to train on it. So it allows you to get in front of them quicker, right? So that was kind of my thinking behind it.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
So what I was kind of setting up, full honesty, I started setting up with one of your competitors, but I'm kind of liking this better. So maybe we'll talk about that. But so
Woo!
what the way I kind of set it up was I did had their company name as a custom field. Then I also did a tag of their role. So for example, if Bob's Furniture is having this new product line hit the floor, I could then do a custom segment for Bob's Furniture employees, and then by the tag of salesperson or sales role, and then send out a custom email targeted to just that to basically do exactly what Craig was saying. So I think that's very doable and very smart. So that's something I was working on too.
Great.
Trevor, do we just go to the website to find what your plans are and how much they cost?
Yeah, you can do that. I can also, I mean, I have a little bit of time right now if you want me to show you what the costs are for that. How pricing works at MailChimp at least.
I would love that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. My overall goal today was to be like, I'm going to teach you email marketing. I'm not necessarily going to sell you MailChimp, but I'm a salesperson at MailChimp. I'll take it. Um, over here with MailChimp's pricing, it's month to month with no contracts. You can change, pause, cancel anytime you like. We bill based on how many email addresses are stored in the account because what we're doing is tracking the online footprint of each subscriber. So that way you can send them content based on those actions. Sending emails and such as a result of that, which is why we don't bill you on email sends, we bill you on contact storage. From there, I'm not sure what the average contact storage is for your business units. You want to give me your spread?
Um, yeah, it's probably are you asking how many email
Yeah. How many
contacts?
email addresses are you working with?
probably 5,000.
Cool. Okay. So this is the 5,000 limit right here. And that'll be, so in the world of MailChimp, there's the Essentials plan. That is just basic email sending. You have the segment builder, but you do not have automations and you don't have demographic reporting. Standard plan has automations, has demographic reporting, and all of that. The premium plan, I'll be very honest with you. The premium plan MailChimp has the same exact features as the standard plan. There's no difference in that. The only difference, really, is the quality of support you receive. So, for example, on the standard plan, you have 24/7 live chat. On the premium plan, you have 24/7 live chat, but also 90 days of dedicated onboarding, a live person working with you and setting up all of these things and strategies and goals. It also includes migration services where if you have an integration that's needed, that's approved, we'll just take that off your plate and set it up for you. It also comes with the phone support for more tech solutions, a customer success manager, and things of that nature. And I want to list this as an option for anyone that's curious, because we are month to month with no contract. You can sign up for premium for the first month, take advantage of onboarding if needed. If you're no longer getting value from the support afterward, you can downgrade to standard since they have the same exact feature set.
Can you highlight the difference between standard and essentials one more time, too?
Oh, yes. To make it very easy to follow, if you want automations, you want standard. If you don't want automations, you want essentials.
But you can still build custom segments, tags, all that kind of stuff in essentials, as long as you don't mind just being the one to click send automatically on an email batch, then that could be good for you.
That's correct. Yeah. So like the branching path and the ad targeting stuff that we talked about, that's not going to be there. But all the basic email sending needs, the segmentation and the tracking of that will be there.
Great. Okay. And again, unlimited email sends, it's just by contacts. Because the other one I was using was, up to 1,000 emails sent a month, but you could send it to as many different contacts. But this is based upon how many contacts you have in the account, and you can send as many emails as you want to those contacts.
Yes and no. I say
Uh-oh.
no because there is a limit of how many emails are sent on each plan, but it is a ridiculous amount. And if you're sending
Okay.
that much email, I would be very concerned and you should
Okay.
be flagged for spam. For example, on
Great.
the Essentials plan, we calculated at 10x the contact size. So if you sign up for 5,000 contacts, 5,000 times 10 is 50,000 email sends per month. So that equates to 10 emails per subscriber if you have 5,000 people completely. Standard plan is 12x, premium plan is 15x. So usually if you're hitting that mark, at least in your industry, I would probably recommend dialing it down a little bit so that we can get to the inbox more effectively. Cool. Well, with that, if anyone has any other further questions, thoughts, comments, concerns, feel free to hit me up. That's my email address. That's my office line. Or shoot me a message on LinkedIn. To be able to get the 20% discount that's not available on our website, just reach out to me via email of your interest of like what kind of account you want to sign up for. And then I'll send you a hyperlink to that type of account using the email address of your choice. And again, if